Okay, well, I'm just going to say welcome because that's what I like to do. Hope everybody's doing great. Welcome to my beautiful souls. This is session 2 of session 3 coming up next month. This is a part of my Everything is Energy series, and it's my very special holiday gift to my beautiful souls. Those who've been hanging out with Coach Viv and new people. For those who want to do, be, and have more out of life. And I always ask people, if you're not having and doing and being all that you want to have, do, and be, my question is, well, why not? What's stopping you? What's keeping you from having and doing and being everything you want out of life? And most people come back with all kinds of answers, a few responses of which they take any responsibility for things not working out in their life. And I'm like, well, hello, dude, or ma'am, or miss, you have the power to change that. And only you can change what happens to you. Coach Viv can't change it. The president can't change it. The government can't change it. Your homeroom teacher can't change it. Your preacher, God bless him, cannot change it. Only you can change your life experiences. And that's, I think, the beauty of hanging out and being aware and listening and searching for that thing that we call the truth. And truth is something that transcends religions and philosophies and concepts. It just is. It reminds me of nature. Nature was here before we showed up. Would you agree? Yeah? Nature was here before we showed up, and it's going to be here when we're gone. So I have some housekeeping stuff that I want to share. Introductions are fine. Let's do some introductions. Let's say who you are and why you showed up today. We're going to have questions and answers throughout our session. Okay, I'm going to make sure we have time for Q&A. I believe we should kind of have it along the way. This is not a religious discussion. We're going to only deal with the unrefutable science here. And the science and true science doesn't contradict natural laws. And the science that we're talking about existed before there was such thing as a religion anyways. This is not a debate, but a discussion and exploration of facts for your consideration and for your information. So you don't have to agree with anything I say here today. That will be fine. I just encourage everybody to check out every aspect of the subject that we're covering today. Do your own research. Check the science, okay? You don't have to take Coach Viv's word for any of this. We can't cover every aspect of the topic today, but we're just going to kind of have like a brief discussion about it for the time that we're together today. And the information that we're going to be sharing today is going to be uploaded on YouTube. It's audio file only. If you don't want your voice on the tape, then don't talk. But I would encourage you to talk, and certainly will add some value and would add interest, and it would certainly add to the conversation that we're having today. Because this is not about Coach Viv pontificating. I will be sharing some information, but certainly I want you to please feel free to chime in at any time. And let's see what else. Are there any questions about what I just asked? Are you good? Thumbs up if you're good. Thumbs down if you're not. You thumbs up? Okay, we like thumbs up. All right, so let's get started. And I promise not to do what I call death by PowerPoint. I mean, I do have some PowerPoint slides, but I don't want to kill anybody with them. It's really just to kind of keep me on point and make sure I don't miss anything. So I'm going to share. Any questions at this point? You want to say who you are? Of course, I know who you are, but we'll skip it at this point if you want to. But I want to welcome you for being with us today. So let me share my screen. Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. So very good. So today's topic is feminine, masculine, mixed energy. Same stuff, different expression. Interesting topic, I think. And I'm really happy that you joined us today. So this is live with Coach Viv. Now, there's a statement on the board that says everything, it should be in the universe, not is the universe. Everything in the universe, tangible and intangible, is energy. And I've said this before. We've actually talked about this before. But what I do want to tell you is that scientists are just beginning to acknowledge what Albert Einstein said a long, long time ago, that everything is energy. He said that long ago, even when he, you're looking for proof about, what do you mean everything is energy? Well, everything is energy. In fact, I have a statement on the board that says you are energy. You're made up of atoms, and scientists have found out that atoms are made up of 99.99% empty space. Can you imagine? If you're made up of atoms, and atoms are made up of 99.99% empty space, what does that mean? You're a bunch of nothingness? You're a bunch of emptiness? Is that what that means? I mean, Carol, what do you think? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, there's a lot of room for more energy.
Okay, so energy, you can't see energy though, and we find out from last time that energy, what matter is an expression of energy. And I don't want to get into that right now because we covered that last time, but matter cannot exist except energy exists. But can energy exist without matter? Of course it can, and it does. Because there's lots of empty space. There's no matter in the universe out there. I mean, empty space is empty. You can't touch it, and you can't even see it. It's just like empty. But it's still energy. The cool thing about energy is that you are energy too. And each of us is a unique expression of the same stuff. And I have a thing here that says individual. If you think about the word individual, what does the word individual mean to you, Carol? What does that mean, individual?
No one else around.
Okay.
By myself.
Okay. Individual. Okay. We have a flower connecting with us. Hold on. Hello. Say hi. I only see a flower. Is that by design? Hello, hello.
Hi, Vivian.
Hi. Who's present?
This is Florence. Surprise! You don't know me.
Florence, I have a check. Florence, do I know you?
We have met before.
Would you like to introduce? Go ahead.
Yeah, we met in Great Neck. One of the Rotary meetings. You used to come over, and then we had a dinner together. And then I got lost since then.
Oh.
But I've been receiving your emails, and today I decided to be part of.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you.
Mommy's in a meeting. Mommy's in a meeting. Mommy's in a meeting. Sorry, I have two little ones.
Yes, Mommy. I have little ones too, but I put them in the other room. So, and I have somebody watching them. So we're happy that you can join us.
Good. Right.
So, shall we call you Florence or Flo? What should we call you?
You can call me Flower, Florence, whichever is easier.
Okay, now Florence, where is Dale? Because Dale also registered. Is Dale going to join us?
Who?
Dale.
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Is that under my account?
Well, Dale Smith. I don't know. Well, no,
Smith.
No worries. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are? Because we have Karen. We're gonna back up just a tad bit. Can we? You might, guys. We can. Hey, it's a poor card. It doesn't have reverse on it. Okay.
Okay.
So can we just back up just a tad bit? Florence, since you're just coming on, would you introduce yourself a little bit, and then Carol, who's also on the call, will introduce herself.
Hey, my name is Florence Smith. Right now, I live in Patchogue, Suffolk County, and I'm in school full time with an infant and toddler and working. I'm going to school for social work, human services, and I'm from Uganda. Been here for 7 years and trying to look how to connect with women that, and learn more from women that have more to offer.
Now, Flo, did I meet you at the Great Neck Rotary Club?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Now I know who you are.
All right, thank you.
Very good. I am still there. Oh, Carol, just so you know, I am the honorary member of the Great Neck Rotary Club. I used to be the assistant district governor. in the district, and so fell in love with the club, and they wanted me to move my membership. I'm like, I can't do that. So they made me an honorary member of the club. And Florence, I met her at that club. So congratulations, Florence. You moved on and had babies, girl. Hello. Bless you.
Yes. That was like when we met. That's when I had come from Uganda, like 2 years in the US, and I was trying to. Yeah, but now I'm married with 2 kids, and yeah.
Congratulations.
Life is good.
I knew that was going to happen.
Thank you.
I knew somebody was going to snatch you up, girl. You're just too cute not to be married, girl. Hooked up with somebody. So there.
Oh yeah.
Carol, would you like to? Carol, would you introduce yourself just a little bit? Say who you are.
Sure. So, Florence, I live in New Hampshire, and I'm connected to Vivian because I participated in a seminar that she did for Rotary. There's a division called RLI. You probably are familiar with it if you're still in Rotary. And it's the Rotary Leadership Institute. And Vivian led a session on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is something that I'm very big on. I want to understand better how to connect with people that are, from other places other than the United States. And I have been here for my entire life. I live in New England. I'm in New Hampshire. And when I heard her speak, I was very, very interested in learning more about her background. So I kind of dug a little and found out that she was a coach, that Vivian, not only led this session, which I thought she did a great job with. And so I asked her what type of coaching she did, and she kind of led me into these sessions. So here I am. I'm trying to, learn more just like you about, how to do a better job in understanding various cultures and how to get them connected in our Rotary. I'd love to be able to have more than, just a few people from our community that are part of our Rotary Club, and have it not be that stigma of you have to have $1 million and own a business in order to be a Rotarian. So Vivian's teaching me a lot about that in the background of how to be a better Rotarian and, whatever. I learned a lot from Vivian.
So cool.
Hey Florence, I paid her to say that, right?
No.
You know I didn't, right?
Sounds authentic.
I know. But you know what the funny thing is, Carol thinks I'm trying to help her to be a better Rotarian. I'm not. I'm about helping you be a better you. And when you become a better you, you can be a better anything you want to be. Rotarian, doesn't matter. Better spouse, better student, better friend. You know what I'm saying? It's about becoming a better you. So, but thank you, Carol. So a little bit about me, Flo, because I'm going to call you Florence. Florence, because you haven't seen me for a New York Minute. I'm a psychologist also, in addition to being an abundant life coach. My background is pharmaceutical research and drug development. I am a scientist at the heart of everything that I do. I'm a very spiritual person, meaning that I'm self-aware, and I know that there's a connection between what happens in life and in nature and what happens to me. And my work is for me to become a better version of myself every day. Am I perfect? No. Am I trying to be? Not really. I just want to be the best I can be, however that shows up on a daily basis. And I love life, and I love working and helping people, because they help make me become and be a better person too. So it's sort of I try to create what you call win-win scenarios with everybody, so that we each can benefit from the interaction and the exchange that we have together with each other. So those introductions out of the way. The bit of housekeeping that I talked about was that, we're going to have Q&A throughout the whole session. This is not about religion. We're going to talk about things that existed before religion even came on the scene. This is about information that I'm sharing so that you can have a better understanding and appreciation for who you are as a human being. The slide that's on the screen right now says that everything is, it should be everything in the universe is everything in the universe, tangible and intangible, is energy. And we just talked about that. And how you are energy. And Carol was just explaining before you came on, what does it mean that if atoms are 99% empty, an empty space, And you are all made up of atoms. What does that say about you as a person, Florence? If atoms are 99% empty space and you're made up of atoms, what does that say about you?
Oh, that means I have to work hard to fill up that space.
I love it. What are you going to fill it up with?
With energy. I need that every day.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about...
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Vivian, I have my babies with me. I hope you guys are okay with that.
Of course.
No, it's all
At
good.
6 months and a 3-year-old, I can't be in a room without them.
Wow,
So
bless you. Okay, no worries. We thank you for letting us know. Okay, no worries. We're also on this last question, but what does it mean to be an individual? What does it mean to be an individual, Florence?
I think being an individual is being human, like being human, like living, appreciating, taking each day at a time. Because I'm at the place where I'm like looking for lack of a better word, like positive energy, positive vibes, because it's a lot going on in my life. School, work, kids, home, cleaning. So today I didn't even go to church. I said, let me, if I cannot talk to somebody I've not talked to in a long time.
Okay.
So for me, being an individual is, I don't know, being overwhelmed and putting everything aside and taking a breath, maybe.
Okay. The definition of being, if you look at the word individual, in means not, dividual means divide, so you're not divided, yet you are different. Okay, so I like to use an analogy how, you know how your hand has fingers on it? Every hand has fingers, okay? But notice that the fingers are connected to the hand. Is it still a part of the hand? Yes, it is. The fingers are an extension of the hand, and each of them are individual, not divided, in that they're unique and have a unique function. They work best when they work together to do things. If they try to do work by themselves, it's a little hard. It's hard to pick up a pencil with one finger. Would you agree? It's hard to hold a hammer with one finger. So you need all the rest of the fingers as a team to make the hand work and function well. And so that's what it means to be an individual. That means you are an extension, a unique expression of some really good stuff. And we're going to talk about that as we move along in this presentation. So here is an example of how the same stuff exists in the world but has different expressions. The water molecule is comprised of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, right? That's the water molecule, okay? But that water molecule can be expressed as a liquid form, as water, liquid water. It can be steam, it's still hydrogen and oxygen, and it can be expressed as a solid like ice cube. And most people don't think about that. It is still hydrogen and oxygen. What's happening is that the molecules have just changed their arrangement and how they function together. Okay? And it is the arrangement, the form that it changes is what creates the liquid, the steam, or the solid. It just changed form. Is it still energy? Yes, it just changes form and it moves at a different frequency. It lives at a different state, and there are infinite states of energy patterns in the world today. And Carol and Florence and Vivian, we're all energy, but we're different expressions of energy. We vibrate at different places. We're different expressions of this thing called energy. And so that's what makes us unique and what makes us so special. Any questions about that? Do you kind of get that, Florence, when I talk about the different states of water?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Carol, you good?
Yep.
Okay, the next one is humans. As humans, we are all the same stuff. Okay? So what does that mean, Coach Viv? Every human being is 99% of these 6 elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Every human being on the planet has that in them. Everybody has that. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. And Carol and I were just talking about someone who is very, very dark complexioned. And that's just skin tone. That's skin color. And sometimes in the world that we live in, we get caught up in that. Hence, we were having conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion. For a long time, and still exists today, people are being ill-treated because of the skin color, the texture of their hair, their religion. They've been discriminated for a lot of different reasons. Okay, so it has created a lot of upheaval in the world today. So there's all kinds of issues regarding around the color of a person's skin. What we fail to realize is that we're still all the same stuff. No matter our physical, mental, or emotional differences, we're all the same stuff. 0.85% of us are made of these other elements: sulfur, potassium, sodium chloride, and magnesium. There's some trace elements that are in us as well. But the key cool thing I want you to recognize is that all of life, whether it's organic or inorganic, it still has all the same core elements. So what the world are we fussing over? We think we're so different, but we're not. The differences that we have made in ourselves is artificial. It's phony. It's fake. And it's hurting us. It's actually tearing us apart as a society of people. And we have the power to change that. Now, this next slide is talking about gender. Gender is in everything. There's no such thing as a male without a female or a female without a male. Hello? So, which came first, the chicken or the egg? What do you think? Which came first? Carol? Trick question.
Yeah, it's a trick question.
It really is a trick question. You don't have to answer it. I want you to think about that. Florence, have you ever heard that question before? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I know. I feel like God created the chicken and laid eggs, so the chicken maybe.
So that which you call God, people call it different things. I call it source. I call it infinite intelligence. But infinite intelligence created, it's all matter and energy, okay? And it created a form, a mass, which you call a chicken. So technically the chicken came first. Yeah, but how can a chicken exist? Well, it had to have a male and female. So guess what? It wasn't just a female chicken. A male had to be there someplace. Otherwise, I couldn't have chicken in my oven this evening. So hello. Somebody had some chickens, little chickadees, and Coach Vivian bought one to have dinner for her family. So gender is everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Okay? This whole topic that we're talking about today is male, is feminine, masculine, and mixed energies. Okay? But mental gender is a state of coexistence between masculine and feminine aspects of the human mind. The left side of the brain, which we call the left hemisphere, facilitates largely the aspect of logic and analytical and linear thought processes, which we tend to associate with the concept of masculinity. But a lot of women think that way too. I'm very analytical, so some aspects of my brain is masculine, right? That side is. The right side, which we often attribute to femininity, is about intuition and creativity and compassion and a holistic thought process. But bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we all have that in us, whether we're male or female. Okay, we keep forgetting that, hey, like I have my brother, younger brother, who's like very masculine, very macho, he's like a tough guy. I said, dude, I know on the other side of your brain there's some soft, mushy stuff about you. And he gets angry when I say that to him. But I know it is, because you have a right brain and a left brain. It just depends on which one you choose to express at any moment. Now let's jump into this real quick, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the hormones, and we'll define what hormones are in a second. So there are mainly two sex hormones in a woman. There's estrogen and progesterone, okay? The man has mostly testosterone. However, a man also has estrogen and progesterone, and a woman also has testosterone. Did you know that, everybody? How many of you didn't know that we carry all of it? That we have both estrogen and testosterone as a woman, and a man also has estrogen and progesterone in his system. Did you guys not know that? Okay, some people didn't know that. All right. Now, in the male, testosterone is produced mainly in the testes. All right, it's also produced in the adrenal gland, which is another issue. We're not going to get into all that stuff. But the point is, progesterone, which is also in women, counteracts the effects of estrogen in the males. Now, you see men who maybe you think are maybe more feminine or tend to lean towards femininity. Can you raise your hand if you ever met anybody like that? We have names for people who are like that. We call them gay people. Or you find women who are more masculine and macho, and they're truck drivers, and they don't like men, that kind of thing. Well, it's because of their hormones that are in them. Oh, there's a raised hand. Yes, ma'am. Oh, unmute yourself, honey. Unmute yourself.
No,
Yes.
I was responding to the question you asked before.
What was the question I asked before?
No, you're like, if you know somebody like that, raise your hand, and I just did.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Yes, because I apologize. Yes, because you yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Good. So, but I just want you to understand what it is before you start labeling people or saying it's wrong to be this way versus it's right to be a certain kind of way. We get caught up in the religious aspect of the right and wrongness of what people's orientation is. And people are quick to tell me, well, Vivian, but the Bible said. I said, we're not talking about religion. That's another conversation. We're only talking about the science here, what it looks like and what it is. Okay? Again, progesterone role in a man is to counteract the effect of estrogen in a man. Men need progesterone to sustain their masculinity. I don't know if you realize that or not. Okay? If you didn't have progesterone, which is predominantly in a woman, he could not be who he is. So I tell my younger brother that all the time, He doesn't like when I say that, but I tell him anyways. Common elements. Here is testosterone and here's estrogen. Do you all see any common elements? What do you see that's common in these two hormones? What's common? What do you see that's common in them? Please speak up. What are some common elements?
I don't know what they are, but the CH3 and the OH.
There you go. It's at the bottom. I have a cheat sheet for you.
Oh, okay.
It's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They both have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Now, mind you, they have common elements. They have the same stuff. So what's the difference? The difference is the arrangement. Okay, these rings here are called benzene rings. Okay, I'm not going to get into chemistry for you because I love physics and chemistry, but we're not going to get into a chemistry lesson today. But my point is they have the same elements, but the different arrangements. Look at the arrangement. The HO is at the end of this benzene ring, whereas this one just has the two lines means double oxygen here. Okay, so it's the same stuff. This line here means something. And this line and that line means something. Again, the point is they have common elements, but are in a different arrangement. And that's what makes the hormone. Okay? Here it is again. Same stuff, different arrangement. So look at the center of these these compounds. See how the three H's are here in these benzene rings? Same combination. Same combination, but look what the difference is. For testosterone, the OH is at the end here. This one, for the estrone, has a double O, and this one has an OH just like that one does. Look at that. Okay? But the difference between this one and that one, look, the O is here, and the N and the HO is there. Again, the point being what? Same stuff, different arrangements, same compounds, same elements, but different, not same compounds, same elements, but different arrangement to create different compounds. And this symbol I have for you over here to the side is talking about how they mix together. The next slide, let me just see, I want to jump through this. Okay, I just want to show you all of them together. The top one is the testosterone here, progesterone, which the man also has. Again, look at the center of the compound, of the hormone, right? But then look at the end of it. They're different. Same here, same center components, but different expression. Again, carbon and hydrogen and oxygen. Now the carbon isn't showing here because this is a chemical model, but that's what these end pieces are. These are carbon chains here. Okay? Any questions on this right now? I don't want to confuse anybody. I just want to, the only point I want to emphasize here is that it is the same elements but different arrangements that make them what they are. Okay? Progesterone is a precursor to testosterone. In other words, this compound changes into this one for men. How cool is that? So notice how the H and the O here are combined on the end here, right? And this is the same. So the difference between these two is how these become arranged and come together over here. Okay? I just want to show you a little chemistry, and we're going to have a chemistry quiz at the end, so make sure you take notes. I'm just kidding. All right, so here's the big deal. So what, Coach Viv? So the point is, everyone has feminine and masculine hormones. Do you get that? Yes? Handshake or wave at me, you get that, right? Everybody has it, whether you're male or female. We have both hormones in us. Hormones are chemical substances that act like messengers that tell the cells and the organs what to do. They're more like a regulator in the human body. They determine your growth, they determine the metabolism and fertility, okay? They determine how you behave, okay? I like this piece here, how they influence the function of your immune system and can alter behavior. Has anybody ever experienced PMS? Okay? How about puberty? You know, when the kids get a little cuckoo bananas. Oh my goodness. My grandson is going through puberty now. It's interesting. He reminds me of myself, sort of, kind of. I'm like, I was like that? And the answer was, yes. But we don't remember that. So how about when men have their midlife crises? You ever heard of men having their midlife crises, Carol? You know, what they call it, the 7-year itch with Marilyn Monroe. It was a great movie. These are all the hormones that are moving around and causing your different types of behavior. I just recently learned that when a young child is constipated, if he's constipated or she is constipated all the time, a male in particular, estrogen in a male is what's considered a waste product. And if a child is constipated and holds his poo all the time, that estrogen gets reabsorbed in his body. And what does estrogen do? What is estrogen for? It helps with the filling out of the breasts, makes you more feminine. You all follow what I'm saying to you? So I'm going to do a little research on that and see if I can find out about, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but is there a connection between a person's digestive system and their level of retention of estrogen in their body? I mean, that will be a good research project for me to do once I finish my doctoral program. So it just made me think about that. Any questions? Either of you? So far, so good? Next slide is, so remember, both sexes have estrogen. Estrogen is important for brain function and memory. You didn't know that, did you? Okay? Estrogen levels in women improve our visual and verbal memory. For men, it improves their verbal memory, not necessarily visual memory. Okay? That means we're twice as smart as the men. So it's like estrogen and testosterone are important for sexual growth and development in both sexes. Out of balance hormones impact development and function in both the male and the female. So if you think about the mixed energy, when I say mix of male, masculine, and feminine, there's more of one versus the other. If something is out of balance, that's where the reaction comes from. That's what the puberty is. The hormones that regulate puberty are trying to figure themselves out, so to speak. And that's why kids get a little wacky sometimes. I mean, sometimes I call them little cuckoo bananas. Or when we are in PMS, the pain. I mean, we get a little kooky. Or postpartum, when a woman has her baby, she goes into a deep depression. Like, oh, speaking of baby, since you had a recent pregnancy, if you don't mind, I hope you don't think this is inappropriate, Florence. How was it with you each time after you delivered? Did you feel excited or happy after both of your deliveries? How was it for you?
This my first one was a little depressed since I didn't have family here.
Yes.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. I felt like I had made the worst mistake
yes.
of my life.
Yeah.
But my second one, my second one, I was in school, so school took all the stress. Like I had something to look forward to.
Good.
And that's the thing that is a little bit helping me, because I love where when I have stress, I'm like, let me just go study. Maybe after school, I'll see a bright side of my life. So it was a mixed feeling.
Yeah. Well, that's because your hormones, after you have a baby, they plummet all of a sudden, okay? And it impacts your body and how you feel. It's like you're gonna go to a deep dive depression. I remember when I delivered my daughter, I was a wreck. I went into the corner to hide. I didn't know what to do with that baby. I'm like, I didn't want that baby. I was a nut job, and there was nobody there to help me. Okay, I was all by myself, and I was crying, and I didn't understand what was going on with me. I didn't realize I was having what you call postpartum depression. Okay, it would have been nice if somebody told me about that, Carol, but nobody did. So, but I did figure it out. I called my mother, and my mom calmed me down, and she talked me through a lot of stuff. And I think it took me 3 days to get out of it. I was a wreck. I was a total wreck. I didn't know what to do with the baby. I didn't know how to change a diaper. I didn't know how to nurse her. I was a mess. But you know, it's the hormones that make you kooky. Okay?
What?
Yeah, I was a nut job.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, right? So thank goodness you have some more help for the second one, Florence.
Oh well. Yeah, the second one is more like, it was the same. I didn't have help, but this time I knew what to do.
Yes.
So I was prepared. I cooked my meals. I froze them. I did everything, and all my babies are C-section. The pregnancy is normal, but when that day comes, they decide not to breathe, and I get to ER.
Wow. Okay. Everybody's different. Everybody is totally different.
Yeah.
So Carol can't relate. Carol doesn't have any children. So Carol, you didn't miss anything. So but I'm glad I had my daughter. So, but let's get back to this. Estrogen and testosterone are important for sexual growth and development. As I said, in both of them, both sexes. And out of balance hormones will impact the function of both male and female. Okay? So remember, feminine, masculine, mixed energy. They all have the same elements. They're just expressed in different forms, in different fashions. You will not meet two women who are just alike. Even identical twins are different. Okay? They are different. They may have the same genetic code and makeup, but they are different. Even their fingerprints are different. Because your fingerprints are made when you touch the wall of the uterus. I don't know if you'll realize that or not. And how you touch the wall of the uterus creates what your fingerprints are. And that's why identical twins have different fingerprints. Same stuff, different expression. I have pleased issues. Some people have more or less of these sex hormones. I just also discovered for women, women of color, Carol, I don't know if you know this or not, tend to have a high level of what you call fibroids, uterine fibroids. And I'd asked my physician about that, and for years, all they kept saying they don't know how or why, and none of them are making a connection is because of the level of the hormones. Estrogen can cause a person to have a uterus that has lots of fibroids. And do you regulate the level of estrogen? I don't know how you do that. Maybe have more sex. I don't know. I think that's a good idea. Have more. I'm kidding you. Actually, I'm not kidding you. I don't know what that can be, but having women of color in particular. Okay, so what does that mean? So if the estrogen isn't being circulated and being utilized and it's not balanced, the accumulation of it, where it accumulates at, is in your uterus. Now think about that. If the estrogen accumulates in the uterus of a woman, what do you think estrogen would accumulate in a man? Ladies?
I don't know. In their private parts.
Yes.
I have no idea.
Very good. Florence, what do you think?
I think the same.
Yeah. It will be in the same. Remember, because it's for sexual development. Think about that now. That's what it's for. It's also for memory. Remember we talked about how estrogen is important for what? In men, estrogen improves verbal memory, great memory. In women, what does it do? It's both visual and verbal. Now think about visual memory. Think about artists. Okay? Now I'm making a leap here. This is an intuitive leap from science. If the level of creativity increases on your right hemisphere, which is known for women, the level of creativity, and estrogen, the level of estrogen impacts your visual memory. For an artist, usually they have their visual memory is best, especially guys who's painting, a painter. They see things that other people can't see. Boy, I want to do some research on this so bad. I wonder if if a lot of them have a higher level of estrogen in their system than men who are more analytical. I suspect that they have a higher level of estrogen in their system. Especially if they're young, if they have issues with their diet and are not excreting the estrogen, which estrogen does, it's supposed to be excreted. But if you don't go to the bathroom like you should, it gets reabsorbed. I wonder if those men and women are more autistic because of the level of estrogen that's also floating around in their system. Or they have more feminine qualities versus masculine qualities because of the level of estrogen floating around in their system. So that's just a thought. That's something that Coach Viv's thinking about. So what do you all think about that? Since I have you on the phone, I mean, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I have a good friend who's a really great muralist, but I wouldn't consider him to be like feminine in any way.
No, not necessarily feminine. But what about his visual? No, okay, very good. What about his? Okay, let's back up again. We're talking about visual memory. You think his visual memory is important to be a good muralist, Carol?
Yes.
Yeah. So we talk about two.
He's very creative. I mean, he's beyond, like, he creates these things that everyone's like, whoa.
Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So it would take a large sample for me to kind of explore something like that. I mean, that just made me think that how about this? I think he makes good use of the estrogen that's in his body. Hello. And he certainly makes good use of his right brain, because his right brain is more creative and intuitive. He's making much good use of that. That's a good point, Carol. Florence, what do you think?
Not really. I'm just gonna go along. I think I lost something on that. These kids are making sounds. Dad.
The baby knows. So there. Okay. All right. So we'll move on. So the last slide is this guy. So this was session 2. We have a final session coming up on December the 12th. It's going to be on a Sunday. I always do this on a Sunday at 3 o'clock. The topic is love, fear, illness, poverty, wealth, weight retention, whatever else you want to talk about. And all these little cute little pictures is an illustration of all of this. And people are still struggling with these things, and They don't remember that it's all energy. In fact, no one ever told them that. But if it's all energy, then that means, to me, if it's all energy, Coach Bill, that means, and I'm energy, that means I can do something about that to change it. I can change my energy signature pattern, because poverty, which is what this picture down here represents, and wealth are two different types of energy patterns. Okay? Everything starts with your thinking, and thoughts are energy patterns. Okay? You can't get rich if you're thinking poverty all the time. Okay? And if you think about wealth and success, you won't be poor. They just don't, the two don't mix. You can't mix those two. You're either one or the other. That's what they call the middle class versus it's your thinking. It's what you have. Okay? And people think that you're poor because of somebody else's power over you. Well, only if you give them your power. Only if you turn your power over to them. Because you can grow up in an environment where you have nothing. You came from very poor living or lifestyle, which is what I came from. You can rise up from that and become whoever you want to be in life. But it comes from how you think. And because that's what the energy is. Thoughts are energy forms. And you got to change how you think if you want to change your lifestyle. And we're going to talk a little bit about that on December the 12th, which is my last of this 3-part series on everything is energy. So I invite you to come join me on December the 12th at 3 o'clock. Please register just like you did before. And this cool lady up here on this treadmill, God bless her. Oh, let me share something with you about exercise, if I could, if you all will allow me. Do you know people, let me ask you a question, do you know people who exercise all the time, who are eating different foods all the time, right? They're denying themselves of the things they really love to eat, and they still have trouble losing weight? You know anybody like that? Anybody know anybody who's ever had that issue? Okay. Do you think there's something missing in the program that maybe they don't know about? Carol?
I think everyone has different makeup and, different genetics and different reasons why things that work for you don't work for me.
Correct.
I really do.
Okay. Florence?
Yeah, I think so too, because right now I'm on the weight loss. And it's been hard. It's not like it was before. And I run, I eat, I try to do some greeneries, but that middle part looks like it's not doing anything. So I don't know.
Okay.
I need to listen more about that, what you have to say.
Okay. Here's what I have to say on that subject. You might not realize it, but your gut also has a brain. It has been trained to behave a certain kind of way. When you have a healthy gut, a happy gut, you can regulate your metabolism and how it processes and digests the things that you eat, so that you don't retain weight. So even though you're running and exercising and sweating, but if you don't have a healthy, happy gut that has excellent probiotics going on in there, it's like processing the foods that it needs to process and excreting the stuff that it doesn't need. All the exercise in the world, you're still going to have to do that the rest of your life. So changing your lifestyle is important, but you got to pay attention to your health, your gut flora. What is going on inside your gut? Do you have a healthy balance of enzymes, probiotics going on in there? Okay, there's certain foods that agitate your system. Like, for example, tomatoes, the peeling and the seeds of the tomato are not good for a gut. They counteract the flora that's in your gut. Sweet potatoes are better than white potatoes. Why? Because white potatoes have, lecithin in it? I think that's the name of the agent, which is an inflammatory agent in your system. But sweet potatoes don't have that, and your gut loves sweet potatoes more than like white potatoes. So there's certain kinds of foods you can eat. Avocados. Most people don't eat avocados. Okay. So there's certain kinds of foods that your gut likes to eat. Doesn't matter what your DNA is. There's certain things that your gut likes to have in it to help it to stay healthy, and helps its brain to function properly. So you know how they say you feed your mind healthy, positive words, good books, good associations, plan goals, goal setting and planning. Well, you do the same kind of thing with your gut. You have to have a healthy gut and do things that make your gut happy, and you can lose the inches off your middle. So that's another whole course. So we're going to talk about how to move from this state of, I love this sign here. This lady says, fight poverty, not the poor. Oh my goodness. How do you fight poverty? I think you fight poverty with knowledge. You help people, show them how to build their self-esteem, to use the creative energy that's in them. Because even in the course of the pandemic, do you not realize that a lot of people got wealthy during the pandemic? They're starting new businesses. People quit their jobs. They left the jobs that they didn't want to be on anyways. You know, I think over millions of people left their jobs and didn't go back because of the pandemic. And so what are they doing? Some people complain, oh, they're sitting home doing nothing. Well, how do you know that? Some people actually started new businesses and finally following their dreams and doing things that makes themselves happy. And at the end of the day, isn't that what really matters? Being happy. Okay? And last but not least, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day. If you can find a turkey. There are no turkeys in my supermarket, but I'm not having turkey anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. There seems to be a shortage of turkeys. Carol, what about your neighborhood?
No, it's fine up here. There's plenty.
Wow.
All the supermarkets have them, and they're on sale. I don't know about you, but there are a lot of wild turkeys around.
Oh,
they're walking through my yard every day.
Yeah, I got wild turkeys.
Grab one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got wild turkeys too, but I'm not gonna kill any of them. I don't want that meat.
I don't know. I mean, the Pilgrims lived with that, so sure they didn't go to the market.
I'm gonna leave the wild turkey. I have bobcats in my area. I have bobcats. I'm gonna leave the turkeys for the bobcats. No worries, Karen. No worries, Florence. We understand. So I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and I want to say always thank you so much for joining me today. You can always reach out to Coach Vivian. I do provide confidential, complimentary coaching sessions to see if there's anything you want help or assistance with moving your life from where you are to where you really want to be. Doesn't matter where you are. You are where you are. And why not learn to set goals from where you are and make your life, make the journey that you're on, whether you're in school, you got babies to take care of, you got a house to clean, a husband to take care of. Why not have your life organized so that you enjoy the journey? Because I'm in school full time too. I'm back in school, Florence, by the way. I have my
doctorate.
I'm getting my doctorate. Yes, Dr. Hardison soon. Yes. I have a spouse who's not the healthiest person on the planet. Hello. He's interesting. I work with him. I have a daughter, and I have a special needs grandson. I mean, I have a lot of little things going on in my life, but you know what? I'm enjoying the journey and managing it just fine, and all excited about it. So,
yeah. God bless you.
Well, yeah.
And why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because it makes me happy. I love my life and what I'm doing. Absolutely love it. I'm having such fun. Carol can tell you that. I love to read. I'm reading and writing all the time and excited about it. I have one book out already. I think maybe you may not know about that, Florence, but then I have over my counter. There's a book I'm going to write. It's called The Birth, the Crucifixion, the Death, and Resurrection of Vivian Hardison. It is my autobiography. And it's about my life's journey, how I had the courage to walk away from things that were not serving me. And my whole life has changed, and I'm excited about life and living now. And I know why I'm here and what I came here to do, and so I'm excited about it. So that's one book. There's another book that's called COVID, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Another one is called How to Tune into God. I know Florence might like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one that's called Scriptural Distortions, the Hidden Meaning Behind the Scriptures. I know, right, sweetie? Another one called Paradigm Shift, a new way of thinking. One that's called The Breath of Life. And Carol can speak to this, that I teach what I call conscious breathing. Teach you how to breathe so that you can breathe in and you can breathe in good thoughts and let go of things that stress you out. It's called The Breath of Life. You're breathing in and breathing out. And it's amazing how it clears your head, clears your thoughts, relaxes your body, puts you in a good balanced place so you can function more properly. So I teach those kinds of things. So, well, that's all I have for you, ladies. Any questions, anybody?
Yeah. I would say thank you so much, Vivian. This is really wonderful.
Well,
this is like a whole lecture.
Well,
and it's given to us for free, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
May God bless you.
Thank you. I will hope you will sign up for next month. You got an you'll get an email about that. So please sign up.
Yes, I will. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And nice meeting you, Carla.
Yes, you too. Vivian's building her fan. Vivian's building her fan club. It's your two children.
I am indeed. Yeah. She's gonna go. So let me take it off this. I'm gonna stop the share screen so that you and I can chat for a little bit, Carol. So I'm gonna put this on pause.